Today you need your work text, pages 95 and 96. Additional resources, math reviews, pages 85 and 86. Well, we've been doing a lot of work, adding and subtracting, estimating and renaming and checking. And we've worked with some big numbers, haven't we? How do you think that we could use big numbers right at home? Well, let's watch.
What are you doing, Dad?
Oh, I'm filing some of these bills. This is the water bill from last summer.
What's that number right there?
Oh, well, when did you become so interested in bills? Are you thinking about helping pay for some of these?
No way.
That number there is the number of gallons of water that we use during the summer months, June, July, and August.
29,600. Wow, that's a lot.
It is, especially when you consider how many gallons of water we used in December, January, and February. See the number of gallons there?
23,200. That's less than in the summer.
That's right. Hey, why don't we do this? Why don't you take the two numbers and find the difference, and then we can compare the two numbers from the summer and the winter.
29,600 is the larger number, so subtract 23,200, and that equals 6,400. So that means we use 6,400 more gallons of water in the summer. I don't think I drank that much more. Maybe a little more, but...
Well, it's a lot more water, Sam. But remember, we do a lot more than just drink water during the summertime. We also wash the cars, and your mother likes to water the flowers. And there's laundry. We also like to take showers, too, because we get hot outside, right?
And I like making water slides and having water fights.
Oh, yeah, that reminds me. It seems I remember some stray water balloons headed my way.
Oh, yeah. What's that number right there?
That's the amount that we owe the water company. Why? Are you planning on helping pay for it?
I have about 25 cents.
25 cents. Well, I don't think that'll go very far, but thanks, Sam.
Now let's have a little flash fact fun. It's time now to focus on the lesson. I want you to get your workboard out. We're going to be doing some work together with adding and renaming. We're going to review adding 4- and 5-digit numbers with renaming. And we need to practice a little bit before you take your test. And though I know you've probably heard the expression, practice makes perfect, it's really not practice makes perfect, but perfect practice makes perfect. So let's make our practice perfect today. Let's see if you can get all your problems right without error. And if you have a little trouble, you'll know where you need to study. So first, I want you to write this problem on your board. 6,973 plus 2,413. Now there is some renaming in this problem. I want you to pause the program and solve the problem. Now, I want you to check your work as I work on the program, the problem here. Add the ones, and you should have gotten 6. Add the tens, 8 tens. What about the hundreds? You have 13 hundreds, so we need to rename that as 1,300. And then we add the thousands, and the answer is 9. So the complete answer is 9,386. Is that what you got? I hope it is. Good. Now, I want you to copy and solve this problem. 3,045 plus 2,764. All right, now let's add starting at the ones. Then we add the tens and we must rename. We add the hundreds, no renaming there, and then we add the thousands. So the answer is 5,809. Is that what you got? I hope so. Now here is an even bigger problem. Clean your workboard off and you've got to do this now. It is 29,228 plus 32,235. Copy that correctly on your workboard, and I want you to pause to work. All right, let's start adding at the ones. Look at the ones place. Did you rename? Well, you should have renamed. You should have renamed 13 ones as 110 and 3 ones. You didn't have to rename in the tens or the hundreds. And then you did have to rename when you added the thousands. 9,000 and 2,000 is 11,000, which is 110,000 and 1,000. And then you added the 10,000s to get 60,000. So the answer is 61,463. Phew! Now you're cleaning off your workboard again. We've got another problem for you. Get it nice and clean. This one's not quite as big, but there's still some work to do. 13,385 plus 9,242. Pause to work. Now let's add that starting at the ones. 7 ones, renaming in the tens, and the answer that you should have gotten when you did all that adding and renaming is 22,627. Did you get those answers correct? Did you get them all correct? If you did, you have a great start to doing a great job on the test. Now we're going to take a moment and do some comparing of numbers. Let's compare these two numbers to decide which is bigger. We need to decide whether we're going to use the greater than, the less than, or the equal sign in the blank. I have 615 and 635. Now you might know the answer right offhand, right off the top of your head without having to go through the process. But let's think about the process. So with two numbers that you're not sure about, you will be able to compare. So what place should we compare first? Right, we're going to compare the hundreds place, and you see that the hundreds is the same. So what do we compare next? Yes, we move to the tens. And we see we have 110 over here and 3 tens here. I know that 110 is less than 3 tens, so I should use the what sign in the blank? Right, the less than sign. 615 is less than 3,635. Let's do another one. Read these numbers right out loud with me. What's this first one? 3,642, 3,435. Okay, let's start with the thousands place to compare. I have the same amount of thousands, so I need to move on to the hundreds place. I have 600s and I have 400s. They're not the same. Is 600s greater or less than 400s? Of course, 600 is greater than 400, so I know that 3,642 is greater than 3,435. Now, I want you to look at this and decide whether you need to use the less than, greater than, or equal sign in the blank. 273, 2,089. Am I going to use the less than, greater than, or equal sign in the blank? Say it right out loud. It is the less than sign, of course. 2,073 is less than, 273 is less than 2,089. There are no thousands in that first number at all, are there? Good. Now let's look at another one, a little harder. 6,390, 6,315. You've got to compare first the thousands, they're the same. Then the hundreds are the same. Now let's look at the tens. Which number is bigger? You're right, 6,390 is greater than 6,315. All right, one more. 992, and there's a blank, and 992. What goes in there? That's easy. 992 is equal to 992. Now, we're going to review putting numbers in order from least to greatest. You may see some of this on your test and on your review worksheet. From least to greatest. How do I do that? Right. I first compare the hundreds. Read these numbers with me. 345, 379, 349, 341. What about the hundreds? They are all the same. So what do I do next? Right, I've got to compare the tens. So I've got 4 tens, 7 tens, 4 tens, 4 tens. Okay, now I think I know the greatest already because it has the greatest number of tens. So now let's think about these numbers. 345, 349, 341. What must I do next? Right, compare the ones. 5, 9, and 1. Which is the least? 341. What about 5 and 9? 5 comes next, and then 9, and then my greatest is 379. So I have 341, 345, 349, and 379. All right, let's do another set of numbers. You can read them with me as I put them up. 735, 7,478, 7,492, and 745. Okay, what do I compare first? The greatest value that I see are thousands, so I'm going to start looking for thousands. There are no thousands here. 7,000, 7,000, and no thousands. So I know my least number is going to be 753 or 745. What should I compare next to find which of these two is the smaller number? Compare the tens. 5 tens and 4 tens. I know that 745 is less than 753. Now let's compare these two numbers that are left. I've compared the thousands. Now I want to compare the hundreds. They're the same. What about the tens? I know that 7 is less than 9, so that's the next number, and the greatest number is 7,492. So 745, 753, 7,478, and 7,492. Phew, good work. Now this time I want you to do all the work. Look at these. I want you to put these in order on your whiteboard. Write them in order on your whiteboard. All right, now check your work to see if you got them correct. 638, 664, 6,542, and 6,647. Let's do another set. I want you to write these on your workboard in order from least to greatest. All right, this is the order you should have them in. 443, 449, 454, and 4,534. You know, we have been doing a lot of adding and subtracting and renaming, and it really does help, especially when you're adding, not only to know your math facts, but also to remember some strategies and properties to be quick. You kind of make some little tricks to do in your mind or know some combinations of numbers that can help you when you are adding. For example, let's look at this big problem. 6,414, 466 plus 2,215. Now, let's start adding at the ones place. And you may remember quite a few lessons ago that we talked about some strategies when you're adding. One of the strategies that we talked about was making a 10. Can we make a 10 in this column? Yes, we can. We can say 4 plus 6 or 6 plus 4 makes 10. Then add 5, and that's not too hard, is it? It's 15. Of course, we can't put the 15 in the ones place, so we rename to a 10 and 5 ones. Now let's add the tens. We have 1. We could say 1 plus 6. We could count on 1. That's easy anyway. That's 7. And then 1 is 8, and 1 is 9. Now here, in the hundreds place, 4 plus 4 is, that's a double, 8. Add 2 to make a 10, or you can count on 2, 9, 10. Now I know that's simple, but if you start to think of different strategies, it will help you with something that you might not know. So we've got 8 plus 2 is 10. What do I need to do? Rename. And then we're going to add the thousands. And we have 9,095. It's not too difficult to do problems if you go step by step, you know your facts, and you use your strategies. Now, let's think about subtraction. Look at this. 5,256 minus 3,424. I want you to pause the program and solve this problem. And before you come back, I want you to check this problem with an addition problem. All right, so you've got a little more work to do for this one. All right, I hope you're finished subtracting and then checking and that you got the correct answer. Subtracting, you had some renaming to do. Did you get 1,832 as an answer? What about your check? What did it look like? Now, we did get the number that we started out with, 5,256. Your check could have had 3,424 as the top number and 1,832 as the bottom, because remember, addition is commutative. It doesn't matter what the order of the addends is. I hope you got that one correct. Let's do another one. 26,191 minus 13,569. I want you to solve this problem and check it. All right, here is the solution. Had to rename right away and subtract. More renaming. And the answer that we come up with first is 12,622. Now think about the check. And the check does give us the answer that we started with. Did your check work? Now, let's go back and do some review about bar graphs. I have a bar graph here again. You've seen this bar graph. It is the approximate age of cypress trees. You know that the word approximate means what? Right, an estimate, or you can even think about the word about the age that they are. Now, let's look at the pattern of the numbers along the left side. You see the pattern? 0, 500, 1,000, 1,500, 2,000, 2,500, 3,000, 3,500. Okay, that's the pattern. What is it? Right, it's counting by 500s. Which tree is the oldest? You remember? Right, it is Senator. It is 3,500 years old. Now, the Seminole Indians and other Native American Indians would use this tree as a landmark. Let's look at the bars again and let's think about which trees on the chart are the same ages. Well, we've got Cat Island tree and Bernardo tree. They're 1,000 years. And then we've got El Arbol de Tulle and Lady Liberty. Actually, this tree is the national tree of Mexico. Look at the chart and see if you can find which tree is 2,500 years old, 2,500 years old. So let's go up here, put our finger on that number and zip across, and we see it's the Tibetan tree right here. Now, the Tibetan tree is so big that it took about 21 people around to circle and hug this tree. And if you think about that, that is a big circle. Can you think of what equation we could use to find the difference in age between the Senator tree and the Tibetan tree? What could we write? Well, we could write 3,500 minus 2,500. Do you know what 3,500 minus 2,500 would be? Let's write that. 3,500 minus 2,500 would be 1,000 years. What equation could we use to find the combined ages of, let's say, the Cat Island tree, Lady Liberty, and the Tibetan tree? So Cat Island, now that's 1,000. And then Lady Liberty is 2,000. And then the Tibetan tree is 2,500. And we have a total of 5,500 years. All right, that's good practice with reading bar graphs. Now it's time for us to zoom in on the work text. On the top of page 95, you see it says Chapter 5 Review. If you can work through these 2 pages and do a good job, then you are in very good shape for your chapter test. And we've got a bar graph here with the title Park Volunteers. And on the side, you see it says number of volunteers, and it's marked off from 0 to 50. Across the bottom, it labels the months from January to July. And we're going to answer some of these questions together, so you can use your pencil and mark in the answers as we do some of them together. Look at the bar graph and let's answer the question, in what month did the park have the most volunteers? How am I going to find out that information? It's not too difficult because I know the numbers are increasing going up, so I know that the highest bar will give me the answer to that question. And that is June. How many volunteers worked in June? The answer is 50. Look at number 3. How many volunteers worked at the park in June and July? What am I going to need to do? Yes, I need to add 2 numbers. What are the 2 numbers? June is 50. So I can put that in the side of my paper or on a separate paper. And what about July? 45. Add. And the answer is, the total is 95. Now, what about this question, number 4? How many more volunteers worked in June than in July? What operation am I going to need? You're comparing 2 numbers. You need to subtract. So I'm going to subtract 50 minus 45. And the answer is 5 more volunteers. Now notice at the bottom of the page you're going to do some adding and you're going to have some renaming there. Turn the page over. Some comparing, which shouldn't be too difficult. Use greater than, less than, or equal. Writing numbers from from least to greatest. And then you're going to do some subtracting. It wouldn't even hurt you to check some of those with addition like we've done before. So that's your assignment for today. You're going to finish pages 95 and 96. Good job. You're just about ready for the test. We're done for today, and we'll see you in the next lesson.